All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Muffins with Morgan, and we are live. So, making sure everything is good on my end, as you always all know. But we're back with another Muffins with Morgan. And as you all come in here, what I'm going to ask you all is a different question this time. So, normally I ask people where you're tuning in from. However, we've been mostly sitting here in quarantine, haven't really been to go to the places that we want to go. So my question for you all this time is, where are you looking to go after quarantine? So what's that spot that you want to go take a vacation to? So that's the real key thing. Trish, I got the muffins. Actually, you know what? I gotta go get them because they're actually over there. I just got back from the eye appointment, but we'll bring them in here soon. So don't worry about that. But the whole thing here, Rick, what's going on, man? So again, where do you guys want to go after quarantine is over? So where are you vacationing to? So that's the question. Put it in the chat and then we'll get started. I have a couple questions that people have already sent ahead of time, as you all know. And okay, Rick said far away from my family. Hey, Rick, we can go take a vacation together wherever you want to go. Sheen's going to Cancun. I've had a lot of friends that are planning to do that as well. Bali, Ryan, that's where my girlfriend wants to go. So good pick there. And then Ali says back home to Hawaii. I need to come to Hawaii. I've heard really good things about Hawaii. So maybe I need to go check it out. So again, as you guys always know, when you come in here, we'll keep it engaging. We'll keep it interactive. We'll be here for an hour. We're starting a little bit later than normal. Again, I went to the eye doctor. I'm good. I can still see, so we're already good. So I know you're gonna go to Boston. You know that Ireland's great. It's a good spot. Maldives. Rob said outside of my head. So all right, no, we got a lot of different places that people again are gonna be going to, and it's just cool. Mexico seems to be a favorite here. A cruise. Man, I need a cruise right now. That'd be really awesome. So, all right, so this is what we're going to do, guys. We're going to go and get into the questions. So, Phil, let's go Miami. So, we're going to dive into the questions here. And again, you all let me know how you guys want to go about this. So, first question I got is someone asking about what is the most appropriate cold call intro that you can do right now that's going to get people to engage with you. And I think this is a great question because people are still making calls. Right? People are still doing a lot of different things. So I want to give you all an intro right now. If you're a sales rep, full sales cycle, and you got to make cold calls, if you're a BDR, SDR, if you're a sales leader, you're looking to refine that intro, this is the intro that I recommend you to try out. A lot of clients across the board have been loving this intro. So I'm going to give you all the breakdown, the psychology of the intro, and also the tone of the intro as well, because it's not just about, hey, here's the formula and here's a script. It's how you say it as well. So we're going to break this down into detail again, so you guys can leverage this going into the next week. Okay, so this is the cold call intro, and then I'm going to break it down for you all and like why it works so well. So let's say if I was calling Trish, for example, right? So Trish, I'm calling you, and I'll be like, hi, Trish. Thanks for taking my call. I know I'm calling you out of the blue right here. However, do you have a few moments to chat? Now, let's break that down. So I'm going to say it one more time, and then I'm going to break down each phase of this and why it works so well. So the first phase is thanks for taking my call. Now, let's think about this one. If I asked you all here in the chat, and again, I appreciate you all tuning in here on a Saturday afternoon for some people, Saturday in the morning, Saturday at lunch, is I thanked you for taking the call. Most of you all, if I asked you in the chat and said, hey, how many of you all have ever gotten thanked to take the call? It would be less than 1%. So what you're doing is you're starting the intro with something that's pleasant. So, hi, Trish, thanks for taking my call. Now, you as the prospect, you as the human are now leaning in to be like, oh, okay, like, this is interesting. You thank me for taking the call. That doesn't normally happen. Then the next step, I said, hey, I know I'm calling you out the blue right now, or you can change it up. Some people like to say, hey, I know this is a cold call right now. Whatever your language wants to be, because everyone does that differently. The next phase is to laugh. All right, because I'm laughing because you know it's probably absurd to get called out the blue, so then I'm laughing about it. So now I'm on the same page as you. right? So I say, hey, I know I'm calling you on the blue right now. So I laugh about it. So then that person, what ends up happening is they laugh about it too. So I'm breaking down barriers again, like in these first 5 seconds. So it's being pleasant. I laugh. And then the last piece is I do my arms up. If you guys notice, I'm live here on this video, right? On a cold call. Like, this is just the way you need to think about it. It's the arms up. And then I say, however, do you have a few moments to chat? In a nice way. It's not aggressive. It's just like, hey, however, do you have a few moments to chat? Even though I am calling it the blue, I have acknowledged that and I laughed about it. I'm talking about, hey, however, do you have a few moments to chat? So here's the formula. So Galen knows about this. Phil's in here. You know about this. I'm a huge formula person. Every single thing that I do when it comes to prospecting and sales, there is a formula. Because if I don't have a formula for it, I can't tell you all what to do. Then I'm just like, hey, go make a video. But if you don't have a formula, right, it's not going to work. So here's the formula of a strong cold call intro. And again, you can also do everything across the board, what you want to do here. So the key, right? Someone said they can't see anything. So can you guys, I'm on here. I definitely can see that. I can see myself here. So might want to check out your settings there. But the whole thing is that here, right, is I'm pleasant. Thanks for taking the call. Then I say, hey, I know I'm calling you out the blue. I laugh about it. And then the next thing is I say, hey, however, do you have a few moments to chat? Why that works is because then what's going to happen, they're going to lean in and the person's going to be like, yeah, what do you want or who are you? Because also it's a pattern interrupt because I did not introduce my name. So now Trish is going to be like, yeah, who are you? What do you want? Depends on who you are. And then boom. Then I go into the value prop. Hey, this is Morgan Ingram with JB Sales. The reason for my call is, and now I go into it. That formula will help you out a lot when it comes to your cold call intros. So it's just that formula. I'll break it down one more time here. So 1, be pleasant. Hi, Trish. Thanks for taking my call. Then, hey, I know I'm calling you out the blue here. And I say, however, do you have a few moments to chat? Right? Most people are going to be like, yeah, what do you want? And then they're going to lead right into the intro. That's human. It's natural. It's light. It's not salesy. And most people are going to give you that time at the end of the day. So if you're looking for a stronger call intro right there, that's the formula, right? Pleasant, laugh, arms up. If you follow that, I guarantee you're going to see stronger value props across the board when you are doing your cold call intro there. All right, and then value prop. So if anyone has any questions or comments or feedback on that, definitely can hop in here. But again, we're going to keep rolling here. And if people have questions, drop them in the chat because, again, that's what we're here to do here today. So, Seth, here's my thing, all right? And this is me being super granular, Seth. However, this is the response that I got. So I no longer say a quick minute. And the reason I don't say a quick minute is because I said that one time and I had that one person who was like, okay, cool, you have a minute and I'm going to time you. And for most reps, that's going to completely throw you off because you're going to be like, yeah, I wasn't ready for the 60-second timer. Someone did that to me. So then I'm not going to say quick minute because I'm not going to get you to hold me to that. I'm just going to say, however, do you have a few moments to chat, right? A few moments can be everything. Right? So I keep it ambiguous. Then if they drill down on me, Seth, if they're like, hey, I only have 60 seconds, cool. Then that's what you told me. But I don't want to put myself in a box for no reason. Like they could have 5 minutes to chat, right? So then I'm good. But if they say I'm going into a meeting or I only have a couple seconds, then that's what they said. And then I'll adjust from there. I don't want to put myself in a box in the first 5 seconds, which is why I do the intro that way. So, Seth, hopefully that answered your question. And shout out to Matt. Matt's already killing it with the intro, Matt. So that's awesome. So it's great to hear that you're already doing well. Again, live testimonial here on the live stream, someone already getting after it and getting results. So, Matt, that's incredible to hear, and we appreciate you sharing. Frosty, what's going on, man? It's good to see you. I see my man Jordan in here with the flame. I see you. And Trish, yeah, it's a lot of practice with the laugh, right? Don't be creepy with the laugh, right? Don't be like, yeah, sorry I made the cold call. Like, That's creepy. That's why I gave you guys the tone on how to do this. Because if you just do it randomly and you don't have a formula with it, it's going to look crazy. All right, cool. So Manny's hype. Good to hear. Hey, guys, use this stuff. It's working. So Carrie's asking, what are some best methods to overcome the price objection? Carrie, it depends. Is this on the cold call? Is this in discovery? Is this at the end of the sales cycle? Carrie, if you could give me some more clarification on when the price objection is happening, I can give you a better answer because each part of the process is going to be different. So if you could give me clarification on that, that would be great as well. And again, if you guys have questions, keep coming in here and asking them across the board. And by the way, as we get clarification by Carrie, I did shopping for the first time. I did shopping for the first time in like 5 months, and I got this shirt. And I got to tell you all, this shirt, I'm like, it's probably my new favorite shirt. So I don't know what y'all think about it, but this is like my new favorite shirt. I'm personally really excited about it. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because it's pretty awesome. So I liked it. It was like $15. I was like, yo, this is fresh. So shout out to online shopping there. If you haven't done that, it's a good way to just get yourself out of the norm. I just want to do a quick share it there. So Andrew from YouTube, because we got multiple streams on here. This is a Majin Buu hat. So good call on that one. And Phil, you need to make sure your sample size is big enough. So normally you do 50 tries on something before you say, I don't know if it works or not. That's what I normally tell people as well. So, hey, yeah, Greg's feeling me. Shout out to Greg. So here we go. Boom. So what are some best methods to overcome the price objection? So Carrie, the best way to overcome the price objection is first and foremost, make sure that you did the right discovery. So when you think about overcoming price, the best way to overcome that is you have to make sure you're asking for the decision criteria. So before you present price, before you do your demo, before if you're in the services like I am, before you talk about you go over your PDF and what your services entail, you have to know what the decision criteria is. And here is why. Because if you have, let's say, for example, someone gives you 3 decision criterias, right? And those have nothing to do with price. And you, in your demonstration, cover those 3 priorities or decision criteria that they nailed. And you said, hey, this is how I can help. And price isn't on there, then that's one thing that you can point to. Hey, at the beginning, at the first call, you mentioned these are your main things that you wanted to cover, and our solution or service covers these 3. Price, this is just an example, right? Price was not in that top 3. So help me understand right now what's going on with the price, right? Because we've accomplished these 3 things, right? And the price isn't even in the top 3 of the decision criteria. So that it knocks off price. And so you have to make sure that you always ask for the decision criteria on your discovery calls. If you're not doing that, you don't know what they're making decisions off of. And if price isn't in the top 3, then if someone objects you on price, then you have to ask them, like, okay, that wasn't in the decision criteria, so help me understand where price plays into this. Is it 4? Is it 5? Etc. Right? And Ryan, I mean, that's another good book as well, Gap Selling, right? And that was going to go into my second point, which is that you have to understand the present and the future state, right? So let's just do it for a random example here. Let's say that you're helping the company solve a $200,000 problem, and your solution is $20,000. Now, in the most simple terms, you should be willing to pay $20,000 to then obviously solve that $200,000 problem. So then when it comes to the price, that's where from Keenan's book, you can talk about, hey, I'm a little bit confused, right? So what it really comes down to in the most simple terms, I would definitely suggest you to go read Gap Selling because it obviously has a way more in-depth answer than what we can do here in this hour time that we have together. But what I would do is, what I've heard before is you have to make sure that you can tie a dollar amount to the deal. Like how much impact are they going to get out of closing with you, right? Doing business with you. So ultimately what you're selling is not necessarily the solution or the service. You're selling the outcome and the result that you can give to your client. So in the most simple terms, when you're handling these price objections, it's showing them and getting tight in that discovery to be like, hey, look, this is how we're going to help you. and then also bring in stories, testimonials while you talk about the solution. Because the more that you can talk about your stories, the more you can talk about how you've helped other people like them, people get invested emotionally into stories. And so that would be my answer there on handling the price objection. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into it because each deal can be different. However, the two things I would point to is one, I'd be like, hey, present, future state. How can I add a dollar amount to this deal, right? How can I show them that this is a $200,000, $300,000, let's say, problem they can fix, and then my solution is $20,000, right? And then because you probably, again, your price is higher, that means that you probably have stronger stories and case studies to talk about as well. So you should add that. And then the decision criteria, I would also add that as well, because most reps don't ask about the decision criteria. So if you have the decision criteria, you've added dollars amount to the deal, and you have case studies and testimonials and stories you can talk about, I feel like that will help you across the board. So I'm hoping that helped answer the question. There's a lot that you definitely could unpack there, but that's one thing I would do there, because I found that by adding stories, that's where people can be like, oh, okay, like that makes a lot more sense. Because the reason people hedge on it is because they want to make sure they're not the only person paying this price. So if you can tell stories, then that's how you're going to win there. All right, so how do you respond when the person tries to shuffle you off by saying they've already spoken to someone at your company in the past and already in contact with your company? How do you stop that from ending the conversation? So let's put this up here. It just says LinkedIn user right here. So here's the thing. On this one, what you need to do is take a step back, right? And again, all these answers aren't silver bullets and magic formulas, right? So I'm not saying, hey, you do this, you're going to get 100% conversion, because that's not realistic. However, this is how you should think about it. If someone had a mistake or a bad experience in the past, you have to ask them, okay, how long ago was that? Like, ask that question, like, hey, happy to answer that question, or happy to figure out what happened. Like, how long ago was it? So let they say 5 years ago. It's like, hey, against the laugh, like, hey, look, we've changed a lot in 5 years. And there's a couple of things that we've updated since then, right? So here's a couple of things that I want to talk to you about, right? So first and foremost, what's up, Farouk? How you doing, man? First and foremost, you have to figure out, like, how long ago was this bad experience? And that comes back to what Chris Voss talks about, tactical empathy. I can't show empathy. I can't have an understanding if I don't know how long ago was this, right? So if they say 4, 3, 2, it was a year ago. Hey, a lot's changed in a year. So help me understand, what was this bad experience? What did you speak about? What did you not like? What you didn't like, right? I can write this down, and then I can make sure I can give you the best answers here moving forward. So you have to take a different approach. Is more so when people hear that, they're looking for, all right, what's the answer that I need to give this person so I can schedule the meeting? That's not what you want to think about here. You want to think about, okay, what's the question I need to ask to make them feel comfortable to share with me, what did we make a mistake in the past? How we corrected that mistake? And then now, if we have corrected that mistake, here are ways that we've gotten better with it. So then now you have a better understanding. So if you're just thinking about, like, oh, what can I say to get this meeting? You're coming at it with a completely wrong approach. You need to figure out, the understanding from a tactical empathy standpoint to be like, why is this person upset in the first place? And here's the thing. I'm going to give you this advice because I used to work in ticket sales. All right. I don't know if you guys have ever worked in ticket sales, but these people are savages when you have to call them or when you have to do customer support. So I was in college and I worked at the ticket office at the University of Georgia. And they taught us that you had to have a calm voice and ask a question. Hey, completely understand that you may have been upset with us in the past. I don't know what happened. So can you tell me how long ago that was? Oh, okay. So based on the experience, what mistake happened? Like, what didn't you like? Get to the talk and be, hey, look, so based on what I'm hearing right now is we may have made a mistake here. We've actually fixed that up with a couple of updates that we have going on. Hey, it looks like you've had conversations before. It sounds like at the end of the day that maybe we can have a conversation just to show you a couple updates and have an educational call. Nothing more, nothing less. Does that sound fair? Boom. Notice how so we're all talking about tone today. Notice how my tone completely changed, right? You have to know when to switch up the tone. Don't get hostile. Don't get upset. Be calm. And you notice I flipped the script on y'all real quick. Y'all notice that I got really calm, all right? Because I knew in that state, I got to be calm with them, because if I start getting agitated and be like, well, no, we're the best, like, what are you talking about? Then you're going to get a fight, and that doesn't even make any sense. So that is what you need to do, okay? So just ask a question, get the understanding, right? Once you have an understanding, see if you've resolved that problem. If you've resolved it, then you can talk about how you can schedule a meeting. And that's the way that I handle it. And hopefully that helps you out as well. So cool. Let's keep the questions rolling here. So another one is, what are the best times to cold call? I would say, it's changing a lot, right? The connection rates are low. They are. So what you have to do is get a really good voicemail technique. What you also have to do is try out other techniques, video, email, etc. So that's what I would do, is just try out different channels. The thing is, don't ever get married to a channel. Get married to the process. So a lot of people are caught up in like, oh, well, I only could get meetings on calls, so I'm screwed. Or I can only get meetings on email, so I'm screwed. Or I can only get meetings on video, so I'm screwed. No, it's just realizing that channel is just not effective in this time. So now I need to make another decision and go figure out something else to do. So get married to the process here to figure out where people are engaging. Now, what I will say is that how many calls you make is completely predicated on your goals. So I can't tell you how many calls you need to make, because I don't know. There could be some people here that are in enterprise and you probably aren't making a lot of cold calls. People in SMB, you're probably making more cold calls. I don't know the answer, because I don't know where everyone's at, right? So what I will say, though, is best times of cold calls, what I've seen is 8:30 to 10 local time and 4:30 to 5:30 local time as well. Those are some suggestions that you can take. But again, everyone at the end of the day is going to be different. So again, that's one thing that I would do there. Yeah, so Greg brings a great point. It's great if you get the objection of how you talk to your company. They at least already know you. A year may have changed a lot about you and your customer. Exactly. They probably already have had some type of understanding about you, so then you can obviously have that conversation. Trish, another question. When you have an inbound inquiry, what should be your process from there on? How many calls, how many emails to them? So it depends on what the inbound is. But let's just say from an example, I would normally say 5 to 8 steps. Some people go way beyond that. All right. Some people go and do like 15. Some people do 16. Again, this is going to be dependent upon your region, et cetera, wherever you're at. I think I talked to a client and they have a 11 touch inbound sequence and cadence. I'm going to give you 8. And I would say, first and foremost, the first touch should be a LinkedIn connection request. Connect with them on LinkedIn immediately. Day 2 should be a call. Day 3, I would go with, because normally I say call instead of an email here, because normally when people fill out inbound, sometimes they'll actually have their numbers in there if it's a form fill. So I normally just say call, and then I'll do an email on day 3. And then let's say we'll do like day 5, we'll do call and email the same day. And then I'll have like email call. So I would normally say 8 steps. You can, depending on however you want to do it. But that's normally what I would say is, let's say 3 calls, 3 emails, 2 social touches would be my suggestion there. Let's see. Phil, do you think social selling is here to stay or just a product of the current selling climate? So I don't think about it as social selling. I think about it as social listening. Social listening will always be a part of the environment. And again, what social listening means at the end of the day, for those of you who haven't heard me say this before, is listening into what people are saying and then taking those insights to then leverage them to then go do a video or do a cold call or whatever that is. So I'm just listening in based on what LinkedIn is giving me. And then now, boom, I can then go ahead and reach out to them in a certain way. Social selling is here to stay, because now we have to think about it, not just social selling, Phil, it's virtual selling. We're going to have to know how to virtually sell, because people aren't going to be commuting. People aren't going to be traveling as much. So those are the things that I would pay attention to, is how can you do more virtual selling in this environment? And social listening will be here to stay, which is listening to what's happening in the ecosystem, leveraging video and Messenger, leveraging LinkedIn voice messages in Messenger to connect with more people so they can engage with you. And that's essentially where we're going, and that's what we have to focus on as well. What do you do when people stop taking your calls or replying to emails after you submit a proposal? So a lot of things happen there is asking what happens before the proposal. So a lot of the times when someone ghosts you, it's making sure you're setting up the right expectations so they can't ghost you. So I know before I submit a proposal, I ask, hey, so what's going to happen if this proposal doesn't go through, right? Or what happens if the decision isn't made? So I'm asking certain questions before I even submit the proposal. Because if I'm asking certain questions based before I ask about the proposal, then the likelihood of me getting ghosted is going to be less. So that's what I do there. You can't inherently like stop someone from not taking the calls or stop someone from replying. There's nothing I can do there. If someone doesn't reply, they don't reply. If someone doesn't answer my call, they don't answer my call. However, what I have to do is I have to ask these questions. What happens if this proposal doesn't go through? What happens if decision doesn't happen? When you say proposal, what does that mean, right? When people think proposal, they think it's the paperwork. It might not be the paperwork. It may just be an outline, right? So you have to understand what people are talking about when they say proposal and contract. Like, does that mean that we're going to work together, right? Like, it sounds like we're going to work together, right? Like, you have to make sure that you understand what the proposal is at the end of the day. So those are things that I would do to stop someone from not taking the cold calls and not replying to you, is doing the upfront contract there. So hopefully that was helpful. Why do major technology companies have phone numbers that connect to a live person? No extension for person you're trying to reach. All animated voice prompts. Very frustrating. What exactly do you mean that? I'm assuming that means like why do data companies have direct lines for people's cell phone numbers? I mean, at the end of the day, like, people are trying to get in touch with people. I'm assuming that's what you're asking the question there, if I'm understanding that correctly. And most people are going to have automated voice prompts now because they don't want to answer their phone. So that's probably part of it as well. And also most people are in the office, so it's going to be harder to get people's extension line. So I'm assuming that's why you're asking that question there. If I'm answering that wrong, let me know. But that's my assumption based on what you said. All right, cool. So how long are your voicemails normally? Do you immediately email them right after and reference the voicemail? Yes. So my voicemail is around 30 to 45 seconds. And my voicemail does not talk about failed attempts. All right, so this is key, right? Don't reference a failed attempt. Most sales reps will be like, oh, yeah, did you see the email that I sent you? Did you get the call that I made yesterday? Did you get the video that I sent you 2 days ago? No. All right. Don't reference a failed attempt on the voicemail. Now, following up on a video via email is different. Referencing a failed attempt on the voicemail is something I would encourage you all not to do. So what do you do with the voicemail? You are proactive in the way that you leave your voicemail. You are telling somebody, hey, all right, like, I'm going to send you an email about more information about what I'm going to tell you about. So let me drop you the voicemail and then tell you exactly what I do here. And again, if you guys are finding value from this, share this out. Let's make sure that we get the likes up here. Make sure everyone's get some knowledge here on Saturday. Appreciate the shares. I'm going to say that one thing, and then boom, let me go into what I was going to talk about. So Matt, let's say if I'm leaving you a voicemail, right? You don't pick up the phone. This is my voicemail. This is the next step. Hi, Matt. The reason for my voicemail is we're talking to a lot of VP of Sales Enablement right now. And one of the main things that they are focused on right now is helping their sellers effectively communicate to their buyers during this time. So enablement leaders are leveraging our virtual sales training that's focused on developing creative and innovative messaging for your buyers so they can prospect through this net new situation and spark net new conversations as well by helping their communication. So if that's relevant and insightful in any way, no need to call me back. I'll send you an email with more information on how we do this with other clients in your space. And my name is Morgan Ingram with JB Sales. Once again, my name is Morgan Ingram with JB Sales. So that voicemail I just gave you all is a frictionless voicemail. Soft, it's light, it's not in your face, it's not salesy. So now you feel way more comfortable. So now I told you I'm going to send you an email, right? So Matt, in that follow-up email, I do it the same day, right? And you can automate this in your sequence and cadence if you want. It's whatever you want to do, all right? Then my subject line is per my voicemail. Then in that email is the voicemail context, now an email format. And that's the way you can increase your reply rates. The goal for the voicemail is not necessarily to get a call back. It was maybe years ago. Now it's not. We know a lot, especially if you're targeting people in security and IT, you're not going to get a call back. So I'm just going to tell them to go check out the email. That's on their terms. It's way more comfortable, and they'll go check it out. So that is how I do the voicemail. So Matt, hopefully that was helpful there. All right, cool. Let's see. Greg, how much are you seeing hearing about companies using sequence management tools? Any sense of percentage of companies and what the effects have been using those tools? Greg, that's a great question. I'll put this up here. So I don't know the percentage of what companies use the tools. However, what I do know is that there is a large percentage. I know that because with the companies I work with, they normally have a sales engagement tool, like majority of the time. And so I don't know the percentage. I don't know the data. That probably might be better for an outreach or things of that nature. They probably have better data, or sales loft, right, have better data than me. But again, what I will say is that it's going to be extremely helpful because it just makes sure that you have task management throughout your day-to-day role, right? Because you want to make sure that you're managing your task in the best way possible. So yes, I have found it to be effective. I have seen a lot of companies leverage it and use it, and the effects are great because, again, they can manage their tasks daily. All right, cool. So Arizona, what's going on? So you're asking how many times would you message someone on LinkedIn with no response? For example, if you send a video, then ask for feedback and there's still no response, but they've seen your message, how would you follow up or typically close that conversation? So Arizona, this is a great question. And everyone else who asked your question, I'm going to get to it. So don't be like, oh, Morgan didn't answer my question. Like we're gonna get to it. So this is a great question here because it talks about, right, how can we make sure that we engage in the right ways? And so here, right, I message people twice. However, I've now changed my tone on this because based on a conversation that I had with someone the other day. So now I'm going to say 3. In Arizona, I'm going to give you this breakdown. So if you want to take it and run with it, do your thing. If not, completely understand that as well. So here's the case. Let's go LinkedIn video first. No response. 2 days later, ask for feedback. No response. 2 days later, this is where we started finding responses. So you use a GIF or a GIF. All right, I don't know what people call it, so I just call them both because then we got people debating in the comments like, oh, I think it's GIF or I think it's GIF. Like, it doesn't really matter. You all know what this is. It's either a GIF or a GIF. LinkedIn video, feedback, right? So for those of you who are new to this, all I ask is, like, if I send Arizona a video, I'd be like, hi, Arizona, any feedback on my video, right? Because I don't do any thoughts or blow them back at the top. That's not going to work for you. Then I do a GIF or a GIF. Now, depending on what GIF or GIF that you want to do, like, it all depends, right? However, I found that adding the GIF or the GIF adds a human element to your follow-up where most people laugh and then they'll respond. After the third one, I'm not engaging. I'm definitely getting out of there. If you feel like you don't like the GIF or the GIF, whatever, and you don't like that, then I would follow up with the third touch with just a piece of information. So a piece of content, something, a testimonial, whatever that is. So Arizona, I hope that helps answer your question. So it's like a LinkedIn video. Then I ask for feedback 2 days later. And then 2 days later, I have a GIF or a GIF that I can then add there. And we found that to be pretty helpful in terms of feedback. And I was just working with someone 2 days ago. We were on a call and we were going through her LinkedIn messages and she started putting in the GIF and the GIF as a third touch and she started getting some engagement. Now, what you use as a GIF or a GIF, it depends on what you want to do. You should, if you go on LinkedIn on the bottom, just click the GIF or GIF and then you can just type in whatever type of GIF or GIF you want. So we found that the ones that say like, so what do you think? Or following up or feedback, there's some funny ones in there that you can go leverage and use. And if anyone has any questions with that, you can do that as well. So Ashley, yeah, so it's a GIF without a message because the GIF itself is the message. So you don't need to add context around it. And most people will see that, they'll laugh and they'll engage. Arizona, yeah, you got to be creative out here. I'm always willing to completely break the mold of prospecting to see how people engage. And people are just looking for things to laugh at. Be human. Probably hear it a lot from a lot of people, but that's a tactical way of how to do that. All right, Ryan, we're coming to you now. So you said, please expand on building your brand, but being unique and authentic. As example, I recall you reading less books so you can practice on what you read and then implement what you learn rather than checking out books that you read off your list. Active listening skills by Ryan. So here's the thing, is that the cliche word that everyone says is, how do you build your brand? And they're like, just be authentic. Just be yourself. Just be real. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? So I don't like giving that advice because that's self-explanatory, right? And that's not tactical. And there's nothing you can really do with that advice, right? Oh, just be real? Oh, all right. So I'm going to give you, Ryan, of how I do this. First and foremost, what I think about is when you think about brand, what you want to be known for. Ask yourself that question. Hey, I'm going to create this brand. First and foremost, before we even think about all the other things, what do you want to be known for? That's key. Then write that down. Figure it out. All right. So next step here is your question is, let's expand a little bit more. So my thing is, I treat my brand as if I'm having a conversation with you all. I've never met 99% of you. However, I want my brand to be very transparent in a way that when I deliver things, it's as if we're having a conversation and you were in my living room. So when I think about being authentic or being unique, I just think about if I was having a conversation with someone and they were talking to me, I want to be upfront with them. And I don't want to create an illusion. I don't want to create an image that isn't real. So when I think about brand, I think about what do I want to be known for? I think about, let me be transparent with my audience as much as possible so they know what's going on with me. Because when you're transparent with your audience or when you're transparent with another individual, they will be more transparent with you. Because people can read off energy. People can sense if you're not telling the truth. So you might as well just be upfront. And also, as well, it's owning your own style and vibe and attitude. And that's really how I do it. Like, I really like Majin from Dragon Ball Z, right? So this is why I wear this hat. I really like video games, so I talk about it. I really like reading. However, I want to as well share with people different things that happen along the journey. So when you're building a brand, it's not just, hey, I'm the expert and let me just give you all the insights. It's, hey, I don't know everything. I've learned a good amount of stuff. I also made some mistakes. So come with me on this journey so you can see the real things that happen. So to bring that question to the end here and to answer as a whole, Ryan, is I'll give you just a couple things of how you can think about this to bring all my answers together. One is, if you're thinking about creating a brand right now, for those of you who are on this call or on this live cast or whatever, ask yourself, what do you want to be known for? Then number two is being transparent with your audience, being upfront so then they feel that trust with you, just as if they were in the same room as you. And three, be your own vibe. You know what you like to do, and then add what you like to do as part of that content, which is what I do. And four is really the last piece is this is the biggest one, is be willing to share your journey. And that's what I do. I just share my journey. I'm like, hey, look, I read a lot of books and I did it to check it off. Now I've changed my habits. hey, I used to be really bad at cold calling. Here's a way you can go about it. So it's more relatable. I'm not telling you what to do from an ivory tower. I'm on the same path as you. However, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to guide. Hey, look, I'm on the same journey, but here's a couple things that you might not want to step on. So it's all about really documenting the journey. And that's the key thing right there. So, Brian, I hope that helped answer the question there. Let me know if it didn't. Definitely would be open to dive deeper into that. It was a good question there. Establishing criteria for a question up front. Absolutely, you got to do that. Strategies to qualify well, commit to small tasks up front, running a sales cycle, and not hitting a dead end is the goal. So this is really how I think about it. I broke it down to my friend the other day. Like, this is the best way to think about a discovery call. First and foremost, you have to build trust with the prospect. Most sales reps, when they hop on a call, they just talk about their solution and their product, and then people get really, really annoyed, and then they don't want to have the conversation. So what I do to make sure that I can qualify really well is, I got this from, shout out to my guy, Danny Reed, is I get on the call. I say, hey, before we hop on the call here, and before we go into the conversation, real quick, I did some research on your website, and I found out a couple key things that I want to talk to you about. Would you be open to, me sharing that with you? They're like, yeah, sure. So I was like, hey, so I went on your website, found that you were targeting chief security officers, people in security, IT professionals, IT managers. I also saw that you're going up market because it looks like you're hiring more reps in the enterprise. I also saw that you're hiring a sales enablement leader. So that means that training is probably top of mind. I also saw that you've been at this organization for about 2 years as well, and you've gotten 2 promotions since then. So you're new to this new role you're in, so you're probably looking to make sure you can make a name for yourself. So that's more so what I saw so far. Is that all accurate, or did I miss anything? Now, the reason I do that is because it's shown I've done research. Most reps don't do research. They just hop on the call. They ask how are things going. They ask, hey, is your family staying safe? Then they say, hey, I'm going to walk you through a demo here, and I'm going to show you these different slides. And when I show you these slides, if you have any questions, please let me know. And then in the middle of those slides, they'll be like, oh, like, does that make sense? Which most people are going to say, yeah, that makes sense, which is a question that doesn't make any sense. So if you're asking, does that make sense? I would not ask that question. What you should ask people is, am I making sense? Because then they could be like, no, you're not, and they'll be more directly with you. If you say, does that make sense? That gives people an out to be like, yeah, sure, whatever, even though it makes no sense. And then they get to the end of the demo, and then they don't get next steps, and then people ghost them. That's why most people can't get good conversion ratios from stage 1 to stage 2. So what do? I set up the standard right at the beginning. Hey, this is the research that I've done. Once I do that, I say, hey, based on what we gathered here, I'll make sure to touch on those things. What exactly are you looking to accomplish on this call today so it can be impactful for you? Hey, Morgan, these are the things I want to accomplish. Cool. I write those down. Then I say, hey, I'm talking to a lot of director of sales development like yourself. What are the 3 main priorities that you would like to cover what are the 3 main priorities that you are looking to accomplish this quarter? Hey, Morgan, well, these are my 3. Then out of those 3, I then ask layering questions out of those 3, which I don't know what your layering questions are because everybody's outcomes are different. Then once I get to what I'm going to show you based on what I've discovered, I should have found some type of present and future state. I then ask you what your decision criteria is. Then once I've figured out what the decision criteria is, then I'll make sure my decision criteria and what I found is mapped to what I'm showing you as part of my product demo. Then after that, I ask you, do you like it? Then they say yes or no. Then if they say yes, then I say, hey, what happens next are these things. As sales reps, what we sometimes don't do is we don't guide the prospect to make the process easy. We overcomplicate the entire discovery. When we overcomplicate the discovery, it makes the prospect confused. When they're confused, they don't want to take the follow-up call. So to answer your question right there, I know that was obviously a little bit longer, but that's the first call. We could keep going on the next call and the next call. However, that we don't have time for that. But the first call is the most important call because if you can't figure out what you discovered, if you can't figure out what you found, then none of it's going to matter at the end of the day. So hopefully, based on how I answered that question, that was helpful. So let me know if you got any questions on that. Okay, we answered the proposal. Okay, Let's see. Many times I will email them, call. If they don't answer, then drop their voicemail, my opinion. Watch them open the email, call months later. If they answer, reference the email. And if not, voicemail that reference. Watch that email get opened 5 times more. So Jacob right there is telling you all again that this voicemail technique is key. Okay? It's key. So I'm hoping that breakdown of that discovery call was helpful. You let me know if it wasn't or if it was. But that's exactly how I go about it. It just makes things a lot easier when you do it that way. And that's a formula and process you can follow over and over and over again. All right, let's see. James, if you want to create your own GIF or GIF, like, absolutely. Definitely do that. Let's see. When you create a video, typically how long is the video, what message you're trying to convey. So Adam, let's see. Boom. Let's go here. So I talk about this a lot, Adam. If I could definitely send you a webinar on this if you want in the further details. However, I'll give you the answer. Most people who have come to these have heard me answer this every time, so you guys know where I'm going. But really, this is the way you need to think about a LinkedIn video, Adam, is think about it as a movie trailer. The goal of the movie trailer is to get your interest to move you to the movie, which is the sales call. Most successful movie trailers, based on doing my research, is less than 90 seconds. Optimal, you want to get to 45 to 60 seconds to do this video. When I create the video, it's a 10-30-10 formula. First 10 seconds is focused on stating the reason of why I'm reaching out to you. So that could be a trigger that I found on your website, which maybe I noticed from my example, right? Maybe I noticed you're hiring SDRs. Maybe I noticed that you have a new chief sales officer, chief revenue officer. Those are triggers. Or a priority. You heard me earlier on the voicemail, one of the priorities for enablement leaders right now is to make sure that their reps, especially their SDRs, can effectively communicate to executives. That is the number one priority. I've asked multiple people, right? So I know that. It's top of mind. So do we have something that can solve that? Yes, we do have a solution that can solve that. So in the first 10 seconds, I need to alert people to do that. Now, Adam, when you send this video, what you also need to do is say I'm targeting you, Adam. Hi, Adam. The reason for my video is, if you don't state the reason for your video, people will most likely not want to engage with you because they're not going to know what the reason of why you're reaching out. So make sure that you do that. Then after that first 10 seconds, I have 30 seconds. So the 30 seconds is a value prop, essentially is an elevator pitch that you've already probably established on your cold calls. We've talked about cold calls today, so that's something that you need to do as well. And then once you have that 30 seconds already developed, which you probably already should from your cold call, you're just inserting in the video, you're just saying it. Next is your 10 seconds, which is your call to action. The call to action is key, right? So instead of asking for time, you're just going to have a collaborative call to action is what I call it. So all you're going to do is open to learning more. Are you interested in a deeper dialogue? That's your call to action that will get people to engage with you and then set up the meeting. So, Adam, that's the message that I convey. That's typically how long I make the video. Hopefully that was helpful in answering the question there. All right. Let's see. Are you seeing more companies looking to fill their funnel with BANT leads to cover up last quarter? Yes, I see a lot of companies just in general wanting to fill up their pipeline because they know that they're going to have to fill it up because their late Q3, Q4 is not going to look good if they're not filling up those leads. So a lot of companies could call them BANT leads. I really, at the end of the day, I just call them qualified leads. Like, are you filling that up in the right way? So yes, to answer the question, I am seeing that. Let's see here as well. How can you increase connection ratio on LinkedIn? This answer will surprise you. Blank connection requests lead to higher acceptance rate. So what that means is not adding a personalized note to it. That's it. That's going to increase your connection rates. That's what we've seen based on the data. So that's something you could do there. But Phil's like definitely saying be careful. You definitely want to make sure that you don't end up in LinkedIn jail. That's not fun. I've been there before, so you definitely don't want to do that as well. So we got other questions here. How often do you conduct research on a company prior to a cold call or email? So I only do in-depth research for my tier ones, Nadir. A tier one, what that means is these are select logos that I want to get after that would bring more recognition or more revenue to the business. A tier one account, to put it in the best terms here, would be like a LinkedIn, a Google, a Microsoft. These are huge logos that can lead to more business for your organization. So I do 20 minutes of research on each account. I put a timer on and I gather that research that I can then use for an email or for a phone call or for my videos. But for a tier 2 or a tier 3, I don't really do that much research. I base it on the persona. Like, I know what the personas are going through. I know what's going on, so I can do more things at scale. And it's worked really well for me is I base on what the persona is going through, challenge, priority, whatever, and I do that at scale. If it's for a tier 1, that's where I'm doing that more in-depth research. So tier 2, tier 3, I'm not really doing that much research, to be honest with you. But tier 1s, I do have a lot of research already done beforehand. So when I do the email and cold call, I already have the calls and emails prepared before I even go into the situation. I don't like wasting time. I only like executing. So let's see. We got some other things here. Okay, we got this question. Do you know why that is, Morgan? Why blank connection requests? The reason for that is because I think people are just getting sick and tired of getting the personalized requests, knowing that they're most likely going to get sold to. And I think people would rather just connect with someone with a blank request because it has that mysteriousness to it. Adds a little bit of curiosity. That's why, to be honest with you. That's my take. It could be different for everyone, though, but that's my honest belief from that perspective. Sorry, guys. We got about 7 minutes here. If anybody has any lasting questions, throw them in here. But we've been breezing through these questions. And, yeah, Megan, it's just a good way to set up the stage on discovery. I've been doing it, and it's been working really well. I have a client who's been doing it. He's got 42% close rate just by following the formula I just told you all. So, I mean, it's a formula that's been working really well for me, and it's different than how most reps approach their discovery because I'm getting that person, I'm showing that person that I've done my research, so they're more willing to give me answers at the end of the day. So that's it. Robert, no, I don't think I'm going to be making football picks for a while, man. I don't think football is, and they think it's going to happen this year. I don't know, but I mean, Ivy League college football, they're already like, nope, we're not doing it. So it's going to be weird to watch football without any fans. That's just going to be very strange. But no football picks on my end on that perspective. So, all right, cool. So, Paige, hopefully that answered your question there. And I'm looking at everyone's looking at here. We answered connect ratio. We answered the band. Make sure I answer everybody. We answered the video. We answered the GIF or GIFs. You guys can go start leveraging that. We answered about brand. We answered about establishing credibility. Cool. We got a lot of stuff that we definitely went through here today. So, all right, guys. So, with that being said, take this advice, right? Like I was saying, take the advice. Don't just be like, all right, cool. Like, here's just another thing that I heard. Like, make sure that you take the advice and go execute on these things. And to Adams, as put over here, like video is key. Like if you're not leveraging video, I highly consider you to do that. So that's the case there. So we got a question with Courtney. Majin Vegeta versus Ultimate Gohan. Majin Vegeta wins. Majin Vegeta was untouchable, man. You know that. Like that was one of the best arcs in Dragon Ball Z. How many touches through social media do you feel like it takes to start getting that relationship to continue to a business meeting? I think it depends, right? Because when I think about touches, you could think about liking or commenting, etc. To be honest with you, 3 to 4 touches, I believe, is what you can build a relationship to get a business meeting. That's what I've seen from my perspective. That's what I've also seen from my clients. And when I think about touches, I think about connection requests. I think about sending a video, the follow-up, etc. 3 to 4 is normally what's going to get you in that good lane because you should be social listening anyways if they're posting or liking. Sometimes people don't post or like or anything, so you really don't have a lot of context. So you're kind of just doing your thing. How do you address situations where the contact hasn't accepted your LinkedIn request but views your profile multiple times? Matt, if you didn't know this, you could withdraw your connection request and resend another connection request. So that's what I would do. or hit them up in other channels, email, calls, etc. And just don't mention that, hey, I have a request pending, or they're viewing your profile. If they're viewing your profile a good amount of times, then obviously there's some interest. So you should just do an email or a call or another channel. However, you can withdraw your connection request and resend it. That's what I would do. So Robert, 3 to 4 is my answer there. Matt, again, you can withdraw these connection requests and resend them. And email, phone calls is still a viable option. If they viewed your profile, there is some interest. Maybe LinkedIn is just not their channel. Now you can do a new channel. All right, everybody. So again, like I said, go execute on these things, right? Don't just be like, oh, this was a cool conversation. Like, go do these things. Make sure that you go, again, consistently execute on them so you can get this stuff done. And again, as always, as we wrap up here, I want you all to keep dialing here, keep getting after it essentially, and trying out new things. A lot of you guys said here, I didn't know about this. I didn't know that was a thing I could go do. Now you know. So make sure that you execute it. Try it at least 50 times and go execute it. So Calvin, last point that I'll make here. It says 3 weeks. I found out that I did it literally the same day, and I got an acceptance rate. So it says 3 weeks, but if you go back to the profile, Calvin, it will let you still send a connection request, and I have gotten accepted the day after I did it. So it's very interesting that it says 3 weeks. However, I did it the day after, and I got someone to accept me. So very interesting take there, Calvin. I don't know if that's real or not. And even as I say this, they may be changing it. I don't know. But I did it before 3 weeks, and they accepted me. So I don't know if I really believe that rule or not, to be honest with you. So, again, boom, Julian's already on it. He's already going out and executing. That's what I love to hear. And, guys, as I always say, guys, like I said, keep dialing. I'm going to say it again. Make sure that you take this stuff and execute on it. Don't just have this something that you write down and it's like it is what it is. What I also will say as a follow-up is I know we started at 12 today. Again, I said I had to go to the eye doctor. That's why. So, again, we'll start back next Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys know how I do it. Every Saturday, we're coming in here, providing knowledge and providing insights so you guys can level up going into next week. If you guys got any questions, comments, concerns, or anything that you'd like to see on these weekly Saturday live sessions, please hit me up on LinkedIn and let me know. Other than that, you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you all soon.